Okay, so back here troubleshooting this stupid pilot. Here's a scenario. This has happened once before. Kayla was at work and she went to go start the car, couldn't start it. Click, no crank, nothing. Tow truck driver couldn't figure out how to put it in neutral, couldn't figure out how to start it or tow it or whatever. So I ended up going the next day and figuring. I think I know what the problem is. I think I was thinking that the key switch was the key switch and the ignition switch were like misaligned. Don't know how, but I was figuring maybe something along those lines. Anyway, then I realized that the transmission range switch wasn't reporting correctly. Couldn't see what gear you were in, etc., etc. So we ended up changing the transmission range switch, which was foobarred, so whatever, put a new one of those in. A couple days ago, went to go to the gas station kind of thing, shut the car off. It was real weird starting it, kind of like well, when I come to start it here, you'll see in a minute how it kind of like half and then stops. So I'm thinking, okay, well, what is it? Are we dealing with the immobilizer circuit? Because, you know, there's a fob in the key, right? So it's either a immobilizer circuit or something along those lines. Maybe the key switch, maybe the ignition switch in the key cylinder. I know there's a bunch of different things. Then I realized that when I stepped on the brake to start it with the car on, the shift interlock solenoid didn't come on, which was odd because key on, put your foot on the brake, you hear a tick. That's the shift interlock solenoid. This bad mamma jamma right here. So when you step on the brake, there's two switches. One of them activates the brake lights, and the other one I think is just to identify as to whether it's pressed. And this solenoid here will turn on. And when that turns on, it will activate this lever here. Like that. See this mechanism here moving? Like that. Okay. This tab is accessible through the column. This is what you would put your key through, that little hole, and push if you needed to put it into a neutral. Interesting that the tow truck driver had no idea how to put an 08 Honda Pilot, which is all-wheel drive, right, into neutral to get it on the truck. He also said he couldn't get the truck into the parking lot. It's a hospital. You think they don't tow trucks from our vehicles from there? Yeah, right. Anyway, we weren't happy because it was like 12:30 in the morning and she had no way home. So I had to borrow a vehicle at 12:30 and go get her. Anyway, so here's where we are. We got the entire key switch cylinder out. One thing I will note is when that happened originally, the key was stuck and wouldn't go back all the way, wouldn't come out. Now, see how that just stuck there? See this relay down here? This here is the cause for that getting stuck. Let's see. So when you turn it on, it's supposed to retract that pin. Here. Put this here like this. Let's see if you can see it here. You have to excuse me, I'm holding it with my knees. Okay, so I'm going to turn that back. See how that comes up? Okay. Car's on. Now, I'm going to try and start it. I'm going to put my foot on the brake. Okay. This time it may start. See that? Okay, so the solenoid's working. The car's on. And let's see what happens if I turn the key forward. Okay, she started that time. Like I said, shift solenoid worked, right? If we can get it to not work, back to this here, take that out. See, I'm back to where the problem she had at the hospital and the problem we had the other day where the key wouldn't come out. And this here, you see So see, I'm turning the key back. Oh, see, it went back that time. What to pay attention to is this here, this, and this solenoid. So like, sometimes turning it back, this doesn't come out. And the reason why is because this here is latched on. For some reason, that coil is maintaining voltage. See, when I turn that on, once I turn the car on, see how it pulls that in? If I turn the car off, it pushes it back, right? It gets stuck there. So see why it's so hit or miss, because now it's like it's working every time. I'm not sure. Anyway, the other portion to this here is you see this wire here. This is actually hooked just to a body ground, and this is actually hooked to the starter solenoid, the 12 volt on the starter solenoid, and that's going to my meter. So when I push on the brakes, or when I start the car, actually I should say, I gotta kind of use my foot here to hold this thing. So when I turn it, see I got voltage on there? Okay. When it's not starting, I'll get a small spike of voltage. It'll turn the starter halfway and it will just stop. And if I turn the key to the start position, I don't get 12 volts here, meaning it's not putting 12 volts to the solenoid to start it. So what I did notice is if I put my meter across ground, from chassis ground to like the column, when I put my foot on the brake, I get voltage. I get a slight potential difference, like very slight, like a tenth of a volt or something like that here. I'm gonna put my one lead is on the negative, so on the body ground. This one here I'm gonna put right onto the steering column over here, just into the metal here. This here. Okay, so see we got 0.3 volts. Okay, that could just be, you know, the meter, right? Watch when I put my foot on the brake. See that rise? I'll take it off. Goes down. Foot's on the brake. See, it's up. Down. Up. Down. Up. Down. Up. Down. Interesting. Not sure if that means anything. So what do we know here? Trying to put my thoughts together. I did test from, I tested this red and white here. This goes to the PCM connector A2, A connector pin number 2, red, white. This has continuity all the way through. Oh, sorry, not that one, this one. The shift lock solenoids, this one here. This one. And this is the 12 volt, which is hot. It's getting that. That's from the ignition, the yellow. And this here would be the ground, essentially. This is going to the PCM on pin 1. So what happens when I put my foot on the brake, that signals to the PCM that my foot's on the brake by way of the switch that's down there, which goes into a different one. I think it's PCM 8, A8 is this wire. So this is the ground back. So when I push my foot on the oh no, this is this A8 or A2? One of the two. One of them is the pedal, one of them is here. I think 8 is the pedal. So when I put my foot on the brake, that tells the PCM that my foot's on the brake via A8. And then A8, the PCM will ground, it'll pull this to ground, right? Grounding out the circuit, you know, allowing 12 volts to go to it, which will actuate the solenoid. So like if I put 12 volts to that solenoid, it'll come on no matter what. It doesn't matter, it works, right? The thing is I could actuate that solenoid all I want. It's not gonna help start the vehicle. You have to push this down to shift it out of neutral or out of park, right? The other thing I found was really weird is all of this jazz in here. Look at this. I didn't do any of this, by the way. This was all here. I don't know why this is all cut and spliced and taped, or I don't even know if it's cut and spliced, or, and you figure maybe, well, bad connection somewhere. It's not the first time this has happened. This car had electrical issues when we got it, by the way. That's why we got it. It was given to me because it had an electrical issue that couldn't be sussed out. That they've tried and tried and tried. I mean, I didn't even let the key switch off of here. I mean, short of, you know, wanting to actually start it, we can get around it. If it doesn't want to start with the key, I can turn it on with the key. And then we can just go like this. Turn the car on. See the solenoid's working. It's my foot's moving it. And then I just take this here, put on the brake, and go like so. There we go. So there. It starts, it runs. So it sounds like a goofy electrical issue somewhere. There's something is intermittent. And I'm wondering if it's not in the PCM. I did measure a weird resistance, right? I did measure a weird resistance value on there. I think it was a voltage drop. Like maybe there's a diode going bad. It was like 0.9 volts or something like that, which is weird because if it's a diode, I mean, you typically see 0.4 or 0.7, not 0.9. 0.9 is a little bit high of a voltage drop, indicating that maybe the diode's bad. So it could be a diode in the PCM that's bad. But I did notice on the circuit that there is a diode in here attached to the trans range switch, and yesterday this was not working. When it started working, this started working. So I think what I'm going to do is look at the circuit between here and here and the ignition and see what the commonalities are and start to cross things out based on what my observations have been so far. Maybe that'll lead me to it. It's not the first wiring issues I've had with this car, and I found all the other ones. So here's to good luck, I guess. Wish me luck. Bye.